I'm Betsy. Welcome to CAM Matters. Today we're going to be talking about pets. It's a little bit of a sensitive issue, and we'll be talking about how the ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act, and the Fair Housing Act relate to service animals and emotional support animals. Stay tuned.
Welcome to CAM Matters, condos, co-ops, HOAs, and beyond. Betsy Barbeau is an informational leader in Florida on community association living, rights, and obligations. She is an expert on the rights and obligations of owners as well as the association. If you live or are planning to live in the state of Florida, there's a good chance you'll be part of a community association. And by the end of this show, you'll know a little bit more about community associations and why they matter.
Hi, welcome to CAM Matters. I'm Suzanne Lynn with Betsy Barbeau, and today, Betsy, it's going to be about pets and animals. Is that especially touchy topic?
It is. Just try to take your pet away from somebody.
Oh, wow. Okay, there's
Not
a
that
lead
we're going
in.
to take pets away from people, but I think pets are as sacred as children.
Absolutely. They're our fur babies.
They're part of our family.
Let's talk about the very foundation of pets. What generally you should know if you're moving into a community association. What's a general rule for understanding about pets?
The first thing you need to understand, and we're going to go back in time, but you remember these?
There was a movie, Back in Time.
You remember these documents?
Yeah.
Every community has a set of governing documents.
Right.
These are the contract that you are a party to, and you have signed into that contract and have agreed to everything that's in there. And I just have a feeling most people haven't read what's in there.
Do you think? I don't know.
I'm thinking that they
of
might not have read what's in there.
Getting hurt picking up one of those because they're so big.
And these
are
little.
Right.
These
are
little.
they really? They're the smaller ones.
These are smaller ones. But in your contract, it will have provisions about pets and whether you can have them or not. Yes, not. There are some communities that you cannot
can't have
pets
at all?
At all. Not.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there are some that you cannot. Other communities limit the weight or the height, which is...
Not of the people.
No.
Okay, good.
But I've always wondered... I've always wondered about the weight of a pet, and that you say they can only be 25 pounds.
Right.
Honestly?
Yeah.
And you're going to actually set up a weigh-in every...
Weight Watchers, where they have to be accountable every Monday.
And there are some communities who tell me they do. They do weigh them. But then, are you honestly, if they're a pound over or two?
Right.
So I also want to remind boards, you need to create policies and rules for pets that are reasonable. And a weight limit is probably not. If you think about the enforcement of that, it's going to be hard to do.
It is, and
I can see more of a shoulder height.
Sure.
There also could be restrictions on types of breeds. The pit bull breeds, Doberman breeds, a lot of those are not allowed, and a lot of that has to do with the requirements for insurance. Our community's insurance policies won't allow those breeds in the community.
Okay.
So you have to also check with those about with your insurance agent. And by the way, I'm just going to give a shout out to our community association insurance agents. They do a fabulous job, but I want communities to be sure to use a community association insurance agent.
What's the difference?
They specialize in us. They know everything there is to know about our statutes, they know about our documents, they know what we need. And there are a lot of other good insurance companies, but let them insure your life or your home, but not our community associations.
Because it's so specific.
It's so specific.
Yeah.
It's just like attorneys. You need to hire attorneys who specialize in community association law.
Sure.
The attorney that does your estate planning is not qualified to do this law.
Right.
And
that makes sense.
You need a specialist. But back to pets.
Yes.
Your documents will say whether or not you can have pets and may give restrictions on pets. And that was not real complicated up until about 10 or 15 years ago.
What happened?
Americans with Disabilities Act, the ADA.
Oh, I know where you're going.
And the Fair Housing Act. Now, I work with a lot of attorneys, and get to visit with them and work with them and train with them in different parts of the state. And it has taken me several years to finally digest attorney speak.
Okay. We're glad somebody has.
I worked for attorneys for 25 years, so I understand some of it, and I can read almost every handwriting.
Is that right? Yeah.
But I'm not an attorney, but in trying to simplify it and be able to communicate to other managers and board members and residents what I think is the issue with pets now. Documents say this or that or the other, but we have exceptions. Mm-hmm. The ADA, Americans with Disabilities Act, says that a disabled person can have a service animal. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm being real precise, picky about the words I'm going to use.
Okay.
Service animal.
And we know that you're not a lawyer, so we're not going to hold you to this is not...
Not an attorney.
Yeah, right.
And I'll just drive some attorneys nuts.
Sure.
Anyway, just for general information, there is a service animal. The service animal is a dog or a miniature horse.
Okay. What?
I just blindsided her.
I got to be honest, I didn't see that coming.
Just blindsided her.
You're serious.
I'm serious. And the service animal is, I'm going to crack her up. We're not going to make it through the rest of the show. But the service animal is trained for a specific duty. They provide some sort of medical, emotional, physical assistance.
Okay.
So they have a high degree of training as the service animal.
Please don't be mad at me for laughing at the horse. I just didn't see it coming. I was as surprised as if you said flamingo.
Yeah,
I just didn't see it coming. Okay, that's all.
I didn't prepare for
that. It's nothing personal. Please don't write in mad at me.
Did not prepare her for that. An attorney told me once, if you think about where a wheelchair can go, and I'm still back to the miniature horse here, but
You're killing me.
Where a wheelchair will go, the service animal or the miniature horse can go any place the wheelchair goes.
Okay.
So in a house, in a restaurant, patio on a pool, we're not going to make it, patio and a pool, but not in the pool. Okay. Wheelchairs don't go in the pool. But you can take your service animal or your miniature horse or dog any place that a wheelchair can go. So that's the ADA. There are significant civil penalties for refusing service to someone who has a service dog or claiming that you have a service animal and you don't. So there's some penalties for that.
Sure.
But what has happened, and this took me a while to figure it out, but under the Fair Housing Act, you cannot discriminate against someone with a disability.
Sure.
With a handicap.
Sure.
And whatever they need to accommodate them for that handicap, you have to allow. And so in the workplace, that created another whole set of rules and all kinds of things in the workplace. But in our community associations, here's what I think happened.
Okay.
In communities, the documents said no pets, period. None.
No exceptions,
none whatsoever.
Right.
In those communities where the documents said that, there was an owner in the community who chose to rent their home in a community that allows rentals.
Sure.
So it didn't allow pets, but it allowed rentals. Mm-hmm. The owner refused to rent their home to someone who had a disability because they had a pet.
You're getting in the sticky area there. Yeah.
Okay. Now, I'm going to say that this happened more than once. Mm-hmm. And so through successive attempts to not rent to someone with a disability because they had a pet and needed it for emotional support, it must have happened several times enough that lawsuits started happening. Mm-hmm. And those owners were forced to rent to someone with a disability who had an emotional support pet.
Sure.
And now we're calling them comfort animals, therapy animals, emotional support animals. They've got all sorts of names.
Well, it's gotten to be kind of a gray line because you can go on Amazon now and get vests for just about anything for your animals.
And there is no law saying they have to have a vest or documentation.
Okay. Wow.
Now it's coming. The law seems to be coming and going that way. But at the moment, the what happened in those communities, the owners then who were renting their homes had to rent to a tenant who had a pet.
Sure.
Now, here are the other owners in the community. No pet community. The owners cannot have the pet, but the renter can.
has it.
How do you think that went over?
Not so well.
Not really well. Not well. So the owners started claiming, well, I've got an emotional need too, so I need my pet. And then the pet needs the pet. The pet needs the emotional support pet.
Oh, my. Wow.
So it has gotten so that there's no way to make people comply. I shouldn't say this, but there's really no way to make people comply.
It's complicated.
With their pets. Yeah. And I think we're starting to see major industries like airlines, like Delta Airlines, starting to say this is what can fly. Because we had all those incidents on the airplanes with weird
Literally, did you see peacocks at one point? Peacocks were emotional support animals.
Yes.
I mean, do you think that that's just kind of taking advantage of this whole, like, okay, here's the rule, and then the peacock, that's like off the radar to me.
And that's the thing about the emotional support therapy animal, comfort animal. There's no definition of what it is.
Right.
Delta, I went on Delta Airlines website, and they've listed what can fly and what cannot fly.
Right.
And you've got to submit documentation ahead of time. You've got to have the shots records and whatever, and which seems very, very reasonable. Yeah, very reasonable. And what I think will probably have to happen is that federal regulations need to be created. They'll filter down into our Florida statutes, and maybe we'll get some relief at some point.
We're in a very interesting time with disabilities and the laws and everything, and everything's got to get caught up.
Yeah.
Right?
And we certainly want to accommodate those who have disabilities and have needs. We certainly want to do that. It's just, you just wonder if there's a misuse of it.
Yeah.
You know, I was in the grocery store yesterday, and in came a man with his little dog trotting along in the grocery store.
Right.
I'm in the section where the eggs are, and there's a young lady with a little dog in her arms, and she stopped at the egg section, picked up the egg carton, and what do we do when we pick up egg cartons?
Open it to see if they're...
But I got my hand on the dog
the dog, and
so I put the egg carton in this hand with the dog's nose right here, open up the egg carton to see if I've got any broken eggs. There's just something not right about that.
That's right. I totally agree.
The emotional support animal, yes, and we want to check our eggs before we buy them.
Right.
But surely there's some line somewhere.
We've got to find it. We've got to find it, yeah. So we had a situation in our community association area where there was someone that had too many pets, and then it's a big fight at the meeting, and it just can get so ugly because we all love our animals. And it's a very sensitive topic.
Absolutely. You know? And this is where boards may end up, and check with your attorney, but you may end up not enforcing those rules because
I don't know, it's a legal thing, right?
I don't know how you're going to make someone get rid of their dog that they've had for 12 years.
Right.
I don't know how you're going to do that. As far as the leash laws, absolutely obey those. As far as the pick up the waste and put it away laws,
let's come back to that because that's a big one. Let's take a little break here, get ourselves prepared for the do segment. Okay. We'll be right back.
Are you ready for a new career? Do you have skills or interest in management, real estate, construction, maintenance, accounting, strategic planning, project management, budgets, human resource management, lawn and landscaping, pool services, or any other expertise needed to operate a community association? If you do, community association management could be for you. For more information, feel free to email Betsy at betsy@floridacamschools.com or visit the Florida Cam Schools website at www.floridacamschools.com. Florida Community Association Management continues to grow. Career opportunities abound.
All right, so we're talking about pets today, and this is our little PJ.
We've got PJ here today, and she's not going to stay long.
And of course,
we're going to have the. Oh yes,
I'll have her memory.
Yeah. Well, that didn't last long. Okay, so much for having PJ as a prop.
She's shy. She's camera shy, but so we're talking today about animals and community association living, and we kind of moved into the waste disposal part. And because this is such a big deal, and they're now doing DNA testing.
Yes.
Can you talk about that?
Well,
this is how serious
yes.
it's come to.
It's interesting. You can see so many products and services when you go to our industry trade shows. And there are industry trade shows all over Florida.
Really?
Yes.
When mostly do they run? Just not to get off topic.
Most of the year, but mostly during season, like October to March. Mm-hmm. But there are trade shows everywhere. And I'm going to give a plug for our Central Florida CAI trade show.
All right.
Yeah.
Do it.
Orlando. Yeah. It's Disney-esque, and it is awesome. But when you walk the aisles, you can't imagine that all of these vendors, all of these business partners, professionals, support our industry. And as you're walking down the aisle, one of those vendors, one of those business partners will be the pet poop DNA testing service.
I heard about this a few years ago, and I didn't believe it. I'm like, no.
And so for those communities that are real serious about picking up after your pets, they do require owners to give samples of their pets, and then when droppings are found, then they test it, and
they're
that
ID'd.
owner, that's ID'd, and that owner gets a violation.
And I mean, the violation I heard about was $350.
Well, the Florida statutes now have set the violation fees, and they're $100 a day, up to 10 days.
Wow.
And if you're non-compliant then for more than 10 days,
you're broke.
You're at $1,000.
Yeah.
Now, the board has to go through a procedure to impose that fine, and then the owner is given an opportunity no sooner than 14 days later to appeal the fine.
Okay.
But they're serious. Mm-hmm. They're serious.
What besides the waste, what are some other regulations that kind of need to be aware of?
For the pets? Well, leash laws. Well, there would be the leash laws. Most likely you can't take your pet outside of your house or your yard without it being on a leash, and that would even be PJ over there.
I mean, who would do that? That would be wrong to let your dog run out into the front yard without a leash.
No, they do.
You would be a bad community person if you did that.
You look guilty.
I am guilty.
You look guilty.
Okay, let's move on. I don't like that one.
But, and vaccination. Vaccination. So you still have to comply with all the city and the county regulations.
Okay.
Some communities have put in dog walk parks.
Okay.
So that you can let your dogs off the leash and let them run in a fenced environment. And then there are those who have, remember we talked about those horrible board meetings sometimes?
Yeah.
Then sometimes that discussion of do we put in a dog park ends up in a horrible argument because the people who live next to where the dog walk park is going to go don't want it. They don't want the noise. They don't. They believe that there will be an odor.
Sure.
And they don't want them next to them.
So it's a sensitive topic.
It's very sensitive.
But it's especially sensitive because we love our pets so much.
And again, be sure that you have checked the documents of where you're going to live to make sure that they suit you. Because once you move in,
no excuses.
You're not going to be able to do significant changes of the documents.
Right.
They can be changed, but the community is set up the way it's set up. Be sure that it suits you. And you can do all that investigation ahead of time.
I think that's a great note to end on. Thank you, Betsy.
You're certainly welcome.
Another episode of Cam Matters. Come back. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Cam Matters. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. For more information, feel free to email Betsy at betsy@floridacamschools.com or visit the Florida Cam Schools website at www.floridacamschools.com. Information provided on this show is general in nature and does not constitute legal advice. Please contact a licensed attorney for your specific situation.